full-blown nuts. Well, it has been quite the summer.
Oh, no kidding.
We've been chasing trains and going to train shows and events, and it's just, I think we've been spread thinner than cream cheese on a 50-cent bagel.
Oh, no kidding.
The big thing that we've been up to is chasing the big boy on the Westward Bound tour. It actually came through our part of the world twice, once westbound and once eastbound.
Isn't that fun?
And fun thing is it ended up going through Evanston, Wyoming, on the westbound leg of that tour.
Right.
So we picked it up outside of Evanston, and we followed it all the way into Evanston.
Right.
And then we stayed with it there in Evanston because it did lay over for a short period of time, and they had it on public display. Evanston is becoming quite the town when it comes to railroad events.
Well, it's a historical railroad town.
And now that it's kind of been sort of bypassed, I guess you could say, by the modern trains, the old Roundhouse has been donated to the city, and they're turning it into something of a convention center.
Right.
And so there's all kinds of just fun train events, including, in this particular case, the big boy laying over.
That was so awesome.
But they've done just a grand job fixing this whole facility up. It's a work in progress.
Right.
But this is just becoming an amazing place, and they do train shows here. This train show is the FreemoN show that they do here every 3 years, and this is the world's largest N-scale meet.
Right, it was immense. I couldn't believe how big it was.
This is going to be our show next Sunday.
Right.
But this particular Sunday is the Evanston Roundhouse Festival.
Oh, we can't miss that.
So, and that's going on right now as you guys are watching this. So it may be a little too late for you to head up to Evanston if you're not up there already. But it's just all these train shows backed up on each other, and it's just been nuts.
Oh, that's a good kind of nuts, though.
There's also a certain amount of just sort of abandoned Union Pacific equipment around here. But the star of the show is the Roundhouse.
Yes.
Now, we've both been coming to Evanston ever since we were kids.
Right.
And I vaguely remember when this place was a working railroad roundhouse, and then it was a shop facility for tank cars, and then it was just simply abandoned. And we used to come up here and just sort of explore this place when it was in this condition, and how sad it was that it was just being allowed to fall to pieces. But even while that was going on, there was a group of people who were already putting together a plan to resurrect this facility.
Oh, thank goodness.
But I am also really keenly aware of how lucky we were to be able to see it in this condition, as well as remember what it was like when it was operational, and get all of these pictures and video of the facility in this unrestored state.
Yes.
This was one of my favorite things. It had it was either an 18-inch gauge, I think it's an 18-inch gauge railroad running through the roundhouse that went from the foundry into one of the stalls. And then as they made parts here in the foundry, they could wheel them out on these little 18-inch gauge carts on this 18-inch gauge railroad.
Oh, that's wild.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'd like to find an opportunity someday to model that.
No kidding.
Now, I know it cost a small fortune, several $100,000, but the very first thing they had to do was fix the roof.
Yes.
Because if you don't get the roof fixed first, everything you're going to do inside is going to be destroyed. And there was a lot of rotted wood and beams, and it was quite an undertaking. But bit by bit, they just plodded forward, and away they went. New windows, new doors, and just every time we came up here,
It's
more
amazing.
and more progress.
Amazing.
The very first building finished was the machine shop. And from that moment on, they started doing the Roundhouse Festival, which is a train show with modular railroads in the machine shop.
It's been right about in there where they really have taken off remodeling the roundhouse and finishing the inside of it.
Yeah, notice all the HVAC equipment up there? Because
Yes.
this is all going to be convention center when they get it done.
Right.
But in the meantime, another thing they brought in was the old original shop switcher.
Isn't that neat?
And they're going to get it running again. I was 6 years old when they retired this beast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I wish I could say I remembered it, but I don't. But I must have seen it working because we were up here all the time. But in my 6th year, they retired this and they put it in front of the courthouse.
Oh, and I just always remember it being in the park up by North Elementary.
Yeah, that was its third home.
Okay.
It started off here in the Roundhouse, then it went to the courthouse, and then they moved it to the park. And this is how we saw it for years and years and years.
Yes. You know, it always seemed like it was in pretty good condition, you know, like it could run.
Well, and I really got my nose right down in there and studied it, and it was missing some parts which apparently had been stolen, you know, by vandals and so on. But it was actually perfect.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the locomotive had been shopped just before it was retired.
Oh,
So I guess it makes sense that the thing was absolutely perfect.
wow.
And so a few years ago, they snatched it up out of the park and took it home to the Roundhouse,
Well, it's about time.
where it belongs,
Exactly.
frankly, and started restoration. Well, they didn't start restoration right away. For a while, it was parked out in front because the inside of the Roundhouse wasn't ready. So it sat out here for just a little while, and then as soon as they had everything inside ready for it, they moved it inside and started tearing it down for restoration.
Right. Well, the work is all being done by volunteers and money's raised and such, so that's a good thing.
And there's certainly a lot of excitement about it.
Oh, no kidding.
They always have it on display whenever there's a train show up here. And it's exciting to come to a train show and then come in here and see an actual steam locomotive being restored.
Right.
As is always the case with a steam locomotive restoration, it's the boiler that's the difficult thing.
Right.
A steam locomotive is basically a teapot, a boiler on wheels, and so it's the boiler that you really spend some time with. At any rate, as we mentioned earlier, right now today, as we're speaking, the Roundhouse Festival is going on. And this is video from last year's Roundhouse Festival. And so we will be showing this year's Roundhouse Festival as soon as we get back from Evanston.
Right, and have a chance to sit down.
Yeah, it's been a little bit nuts.
Yes, just a bit.
It's also exciting that not only is the Roundhouse coming back to life, but Evanston itself is becoming quite a tourist destination.
It is. There's a lot of fun things to do in Evanston.
And this new convention center is bringing a lot of fun things here.
Oh, I'm glad.
And a lot of it's railroad oriented.
Of course.
And this annual train show, the Roundhouse Festival, I think is one of the best ones we've ever been to.
Oh, I love it.
What could be better than a train show in a roundhouse?
Exactly.
They also have a lot of non-train events here in the Roundhouse, and I suppose there are going to be a lot more of those kinds of things. But just the fact that they have the annual Roundhouse Festival, and then every 3 years the FreemoN gathering, which is the world's largest N-scale gathering, and every once in a great while, every few years, the big boy comes through town too.
Right.
Now, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe and be sure to also set your notification bell so that you get notified when we upload a video. And the easy peasy way to be notified is by clicking on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We sure hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday.
Right.
We'll see ya.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.